My name's Matt Smith from University of Portsmouth, and I am a reader in applied theatre and puppetry. This project was supported with funding from the Royal Academy of Engineering, and the project was looking at how we can work with engineers, students, postgraduates working in the Centre for Enzyme Innovation, looking at the way that they can get the way that they're engineering enzymes and the science that they're doing, the complex science they're doing, to make sense for an audience, for a wider audience of young people, teenagers. We worked with a company in Bognor Regis called Making Theatre, Gaining Skills. And we worked with that group, and we worked with a puppet maker called Matt Rudkin, and he made with the young people sock scientists. And the young people would animate these puppets to tell stories of the science about enzyme innovations. And what happened with these puppets was they told the story from the young people's point of view, which was a very effective way of getting the science message across. And we collaborated with a local company in Portsmouth called the Makers Guild. And the Makers Guild is a company that does what it says really. They make lots of things. They have studios in the Guildhall and now in Gosport where you can do making activities. So the making for this was about how we could get the idea of the science ideas about how plastics are broken down into from polymers to monomers. And so one of those things that we did was we created a set of puppets as part of that workshop. So some of these puppets were very unusual things made out of plastic, and these were just plastic bottles with lots of things attached, lots of objects attached to them to kind of create a sense of a character. These do not realistically represent what an enzyme looks like, of course, but enzymes are like little monsters that eat away like Pac-Men, the chains that put plastic polymers together. And that's the message, that's a simple message that we wanted to get across in these workshops. And so making these figures was a really lovely way to kind of like do an activity that gave a sense of character and idea of how and what these things are, these very strange things that are, can't be seen by the human eye. And also, another key thing about all this type of puppetry is these things are made from waste, generally plastic waste. So it's very connected to the cyclical economy or the cyclical way of working with plastics that we are dealing with. And if enzymes are going to be used industrially to break down plastic waste, that's a great hopeful future for the way that we can use plastics. And one puppet that I haven't really explained is the giant enzyme here that I recreated using simple methods. This one has a tongue with a plastic bottle on it, ready to take that into its mouth. Again, as a character, it needs to have a mouth that can eat the chains of the polymers so that we can make monomers and then remake the plastics into other things. But also, one of the things that came from the collaborative work with the scientists, including Brooke Wayne, who you hear from in the video, is that they wanted something big and impressive to really capture an audience. So this puppet was used in our showcase event that we had here at the University of Portsmouth at the White Swan Studios, and was very well attended and was a great celebration of the project and a great celebration of the ways that you can use puppetry to communicate very, very simple ideas about science in a project like this.
My name is Ming. I'm part of the Makers Guild. As part of the project, we created some visual aids for the monomers, and together, connected together through the bonds, you create a polymer. And in this case, a polymer can be as many of these little pieces as you like put together. Some are at slightly different angles, and some are straight on, so you don't get a completely straight polymer. And the aim of this sort of system is to demonstrate where polymer is and the enzyme travelling through the polymer to break the bonds in specific bits. So if you were on 3, we break offer free. And the aim of this teaching aid within this sort of project is to create monomers out of the polymers. Each of these monomers represent a chemical component, and we're just...
We use different creative methods, such as puppetry, activities, workshops, to communicate really difficult science topics and the research we do into using enzymes to help with the plastic waste crisis, so using recycling. We went into schools, we did workshops, we ran in-house training on engagement, we did a massive showcase event at the end, we did a puppet 2-day course, workshop training down in Bognor Regis. My favourite part of the project was the showcase event right at the end, where we brought everything together and put on display all our puppets from all the puppet workshops. We put on display our game. We had this massive enzyme that we'd made out of paper mache and had it hanging from the ceiling eating plastic. We had videos which summarised all our work from the engineer's point of view and the puppet's point of view, and it was good to see the public come and engage not only with the creative aspect of it but also with the science. I think they understood the science and the research that we were doing from the games and from the activities that we had, which made it more easy to digest the information. It's been really nice working with different faculty. So I'm science, and it's been nice working with Matt, who obviously is in the creative arts side, and seeing how our approaches to a workshop, our approaches to engagement were quite different, but then we collaborated and brought different parts together to deliver some really, really engaging, interesting activities which the children and people who were participating found really fun and were also really engaged. One of the most important outcomes of the project, I think for me, would be the success of using different means, creative methods to communicate science. I think that it's been done a lot in terms of outreach and engagement and activities. I don't think using puppets and using games and activities to describe the work we do, which is quite heavily scientific and difficult to understand from someone who doesn't have an academic background.